Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to tonight's debate. My name is Tate Frost and I'm the chairman, and Alison Morikani is the timekeeper. This debate will be judged by a panel of 3 adjudicators who are Miss Jihan, Mr. Wood and Miss France. The topic of this debate is that the government should tell the public if there are aliens. The affirmative team seated to my right is from Belair Primary School, and the negative team seated to my left is from St Thomas Woodward. Speaking time for this debate is 3 minutes with a double bell at the end of the speaking time. A warning bell will ring once for 2 minutes and a continuous bell will ring 30 seconds after the speaking time. After the final bell. Please switch off your mobile phones and other electronic devices. I declare this debate open. I call upon the first affirmative speaker, Edith Adams.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. The topic for tonight's debate is that the government should tell the public if there are aliens. And we define the topic as government, the group of people who officially own or control a country. Tell, to say something to someone, often giving them information. And public, relating to or involving people in general, rather than being limited to a particular group of people. Aliens. As defined by Biology Online, an alien is a term used to denote entities, palpable or hypothetical, which might range from simple forms such as prokaryotes to intelligent beings occurring outside the Earth's atmosphere. And we, the affirmative team, strongly believe that this statement is true. Today as the first speaker, I'll be discussing 2 points. My first point is that the science world would benefit from this knowledge of alien life. And my second point is that by communicating about alien life in a controlled way, we would stop a lot of unease in the community. Our second speaker will talk to you about how when we lie to the government, it's a crime, but when they lie to us, it's not. And that public's trust in Australia's politics is already fragile. Our third speaker will rebut and sum up our team case. Now to my first point. If aliens were discovered by the government, the public would need to be informed within the framework of the scientific community. According to the United Nations, science plays a significant role in society, and it is essential that scientists engage the wider public in debates on emerging scientific issues. Moreover, according to Oxford Academic, by keeping knowledge of aliens to themselves, governments will be preventing scientists from educating the public on the issue in a factual manner. British Medical Journal Executive Editor Dr. Cameron Abbasi describes examples of government suppression of science and scientists during the COVID-19 pandemic, which resulted in worse social outcomes. The same problem could easily occur if government suppressed scientists from providing the public with information about aliens. Now to my second point. If the information about alien findings is released in a controlled way, it would stop a lot of panic and fear in the community, compared to if the truth about aliens is leaked out. According to the Guardian newspaper, the most recent figures published by the Office of the Director of National Intelligence in the US shows that there were over 1 million people with the clearance and access to top secret government material. Numbers that big make it almost statistically certain that, at some point, incredibly damaging top secret material on aliens would fall into the hands of someone willing to leak it. According to ZDNet, a business technology news website, an example of confidential information being leaked out into the public was information from the US National Security Agency, and there was an incredible amount of public fear and panic from this because nobody knew what else was coming. According to the Organisation of Economic Cooperation and Development, during the global spread of COVID-19, when citizens were provided with truthful and accurate information, it helped them to better understand the information provided, reducing fears and concerns. So, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, it is obvious that the government should tell the public if there are aliens. And remember, knowledge is power. Thank you.
first negative speaker, Brody Anderson.
Good evening. Ladies and gentlemen, the topic of today's debate is that the government should tell the public if there are aliens. We, the negative team, wholeheartedly believe this to be false. We agree with the definition given by the affirmative team. Now to my rebuttals. The first speaker has argued that we could use alien technologies to improve our science. This could only be true if we had access to stuff about aliens. A radio telescope out in the Western Australia had completed a deep set broadcast to search at low frequencies for alien technologies and still yet discovered nothing. The first speakers argued that it will stop the fear of aliens if we release it in a calm way. However, because aliens are fictional, this is not a good use of resource and time. As first speaker, I'll tell that there is not enough evidence to prove the existence of aliens, and its sharing such information will create mass hysteria. Our second speaker will share it will shift global dynamics and interrupt government laws. Third speaker will rebut and sum up the case. That's my points. My first point, currently there is not enough evidence to claim aliens are real. By sharing such information that is potentially discovered still requires research. In fact, sharing such little information does more damage than good. A recent study by David Clark and Andy Roberts, two scientists who published a book called Out of the Shadows, looked at thousands of previous government military reports and found that aliens are flying saucers that came from the paranoia of the Cold War. NASA.gov further supports this by saying we have not yet discovered any life on any other planet or in space. This brings to my second point. If the government was to tell people their aliens were real, the world would go into mass hysteria. According to dictionary.com, mass hysteria refers to an outbreak of unusual characteristic behaviours. History shows that even a fictional situation about aliens causes hysteria. In the US, some listeners mistook a radio performance of the novel War of the World, resulting in listeners making anxious phone calls to police, newspaper officers, causing nationwide panic. COVID-19 is an example of hysteria, seeing people becoming selfish and looking out for themselves. If the government said there was a chance of aliens, our field would sell, well, like toilet paper. So, ladies, gentlemen, Mr. Chairman, in conclusion, we, the negative team, 100% believe that the government should never tell the public about aliens. It will cause mass hysteria over something that is not even proven to be true. Thank you.
Call upon the second affirmative speaker, Imogen Byrne.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. The topic for tonight's debate is that the government should tell the public if there are aliens. We, the affirmative team, believe that this statement is undoubtedly true. The first negative speaker has tried to tell you that aliens don't exist. This is fallacious because we are not arguing whether aliens exist or not. The topic for our debate is that the government should tell the public that there are aliens. They've also tried to inform you that it would create panic. This is erroneous because an article in the Frontier Psychology defines stress theory as a series of psychological and behavioural reactions that occur when people are faced with threats. According to the OECD, if the public are given information in a calm and logical manner by the government, they are more likely to engage in a rational manner. Our first speaker has already explained it will not do the government any good withholding the information, and how humans would react positively. Today I'll be talking to you about 2 points. My first point is, when we lie to the government, it is a crime, but what about when they lie to us? According to the Attorney's General Department, if you lie on a Commonwealth statutory declaration on purpose, you can be charged with a criminal offence and be imprisoned for up to 4 years. According to Sydney criminal lawyers, as well as setting up expectations in the community and misleading voters. MPs who make inaccurate or misleading statements in Parliament can create a bigger problem. The statements made in Parliament are often reported in the media, and if they are incorrect, this can lead to misunderstandings about certain issues on a more widespread level. An article by the University of Western Australia states that lies can be used to get others to form false beliefs and garner their support. Former US President Donald Trump famously made more than 30,000 false or misleading claims during his 4 years of being president. This is an average of more than 20 a day. My second point is that public trust in Australians' politicians has been low for most of the past decade. According to ABC News, public trust in Australians' politicians has been low for the past decade, with just 1 in 4 Australians saying they had confidence in their political leaders and institutions. In fact, only 21% of Australians trust in MPs, according to New South Wales ICAP. The latest Australian election study, conducted by the Australian National University, ANU, also found Australian satisfaction with democracy is at its lowest since the constitutional crisis of 1970s. Just 59% of Australians are satisfied with how democracy is working. That is down 27% from the record high of 86% in 2007. This is why the government must tell the public if there are aliens. If the government showed some honesty about this issue, then they would regain the trust lost from the public. So, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, with the evidence provided, you can clearly see that the government should tell the public if there are aliens, and as quoted by Bill Murray, so if we lie to the government, it's a felony, but if they lie to us, it's politics. Thank you.
Call upon second negative speaker, Oscar Reagan.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. The topic for our debate is that the government should tell the public if there are aliens. We, the negative team, believe that this statement is completely false. The second speaker has argued that the government needs to tell the truth. This is incorrect because according to theguardian.com, the chance of aliens existing is remote. Therefore, the government has nothing to tell the truth about. The second speaker has also stated that the trustworthiness of Australian politicians is at its all-time low. This is wrong because in this debate we are not arguing over the trustworthiness of our politicians. Our first speaker has already stated that there is not enough scientific evidence to suggest that aliens are real, and that if the government were to say that aliens were real, the world would go into mass hysteria. Today, I'll be talking to you about 2 points. Now to my first point. If aliens were to exist and the government were to tell the public, it will prompt shifts in global power dynamics and disrupt financial markets. As noted by theconversation.com, the initial domino of a public ET message could initiate cascading events, including military actions and geopolitical or reorganising. Parliament.newsouthwales.gov.au states that the responsibilities of a federal government is the conduct of national affairs. This includes trade, immigration, telecommunications and social services. It does not include commenting on fictional characters that people may or may not believe in, just like it doesn't include commenting on people's religious beliefs. Responsible government requires the careful management of sensitive information in order to prevent risks to the economy. And what could be more sensitive than if it were discovered that aliens were real? This is why the government should not tell the public about aliens. Which brings me to my second point. If the government was to discover aliens, this opens up the possibility of access to advanced technology and knowledge. They would need to keep this secret to maintain a strategic advantage over other nations. In fact, under legislation, governments may be prevented governments would be prevented from sharing information. We are all aware of the complicated negotiations going on regarding the AUKUS partnership between Australia, the US and the UK. According to Conversation.com, these negotiations aren't just about submarines, but they also include an information exchange agreement related to new technologies. Furthermore, there is likely to be serious legal impediments to a government sharing this information with the public as it would be classified information. According to TheGuardian.com, Australia has more than 800 non-disclosure laws criminalising the release of multiple types of information held by the government. If it was discovered that aliens were real, which would be impossible according to NASA, this information would be classified and prevented by law from being shared by the government. This is among the many reasons why the government should not tell the public that aliens exist, because it breaks non-disclosure laws. So, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, we the Negative Team strongly believe that the government should not tell the public about aliens, even if it were discovered they exist. Thank you.
I call upon the third affirmative speaker, Archie Scott.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. The topic for tonight's debate is that the government should tell the public if there are aliens. We, the Affirmative Team, undeniably believe that this statement is clearly true. I will now rebut the opposition's points. The first negative speaker has attempted to say that aliens don't exist. This is clearly false because this argument isn't relevant to the topic because it is a red herring fallacy. A red herring fallacy distracts us from the original argument into thinking about something else. The original argument is that the government should tell us whether aliens exist, not whether aliens exist. They have also said that it would create mass panic. This is wrong because when citizens are given information in a calm and controlled manner, there is less panic and anxiousness. According to the Organisation for Economic Cooperation and Development, to reduce the level of panic, the government must provide the public with clearer, more definitive information through official channels and established media outlets. The second negative speaker has tried to argue that it would shift finances. This is undoubtedly incorrect because finances always shift. If aliens were to exist, how much damage to the finance would it actually do? They have also stated that sometimes governments keep things secret as a matter of national security. This is false because, according to UNESCO, the right to information is a fundamental human right. The COVID-19 pandemic has highlighted the heightened importance of information in times of crisis. Governments have an obligation to ensure the public has access to accurate and timely information. Letting people know that aliens exist means that the public will be able to make safe choices for themselves and their family. I will now summarise my speaker's points. Our first speaker has already spoken about how, if aliens were to exist, the government must inform the public, but most importantly, the science community. She also stated that the government shouldn't keep facts away from us. Our second speaker has already spoken about how, when we lie to the government, it is a crime, but when they lie to us, it is not. She also spoke about how public trust in Australia's politicians have been low for most of the past decade. According to ABC News, public trust in Australia's politicians have been low for the past decade. In fact, only 21% of Australians trust in MPs, according to NCWICAC. In conclusion, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, we, the Affirmative Team, undeniably believe that the government must tell us if there are aliens. Thank you.
on the third native speaker, Callum Waits.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, timekeeper, adjudicators, ladies and gentlemen. The topic of tonight's debate is that the government should tell the public if there are aliens. We, the negative team, strongly believe that this statement is false. The first affirmative speaker has argued that the government should tell people if aliens exist, as humans could benefit from alien technology or science. This is false. Scientists associated with Penn State Extraterrestrial Intelligence Center and NASA have stated that it is very unlikely that a nation could receive advantages from alien technology. They note that scientific knowledge is gathered gradually and in a non-linear way. Telling people that aliens exist does not equate to benefits to our knowledge of science or technology. The first affirmative speaker has also stated that a controlled release of information would stop panic. This is wrong, because as seen in COVID-19, governments try to release information in a controlled way, but when they don't know anything, that is simply not possible. The second affirmative speaker has argued that the government should tell people if aliens exist because the government needs to tell the truth. Well, this is new. According to the Attorney General's Department, Australia currently have 500 secrecy laws across 178 Commonwealth laws. These laws exist and have done for over 100 years to protect our nation. To suggest that the government should tell people if aliens exist simply because honesty trumps all else is false. The second affirmative speaker has also tried to tell you that trust in the government is low. This is the red herring fallacy. We are not debating whether we are trusting the government. We are debating whether they should tell us if aliens exist. Our first speaker has already told you that the government should not tell the public if aliens exist. He has provided the fact that NASA say they have no scientifically proven evidence that aliens exist. Our first speaker has also argued that news of aliens will cause mass hysteria. As stated by the Smithsonian magazine, a simple radio broadcast led to mass hysteria and even people committing suicide. He's noted that mass hysteria is 10 times worse when coming from a credible source such as the government. Our second speaker has told you that the government informing the public if aliens exist may shift global power dynamics. As noted by the conversation, doing so could have cascading effect, including possibly geopolitical reorganizing. Our second speaker has also stated that the government cannot just freely share information of the magnitude of aliens being discovered. Australia has strict diplomatic trade and arms agreements with foreign countries that must be upheld for the safety of our citizens. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Chairman, adjudicators and timekeeper, we the negative team strongly believe that the government should not tell the public if there are aliens.